Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am bringing you the very rare and elusive book haul. I don't typically do a lot of book hauls on my channel just because right now I am trying not to buy a lot of books and I borrow quite frequently from the library. After reading from the library though, I do add those books that I really liked onto my wish list for later. But even though I am trying to save money and I'm trying not to buy books a lot, I still ended up acquiring 11 books. And that's all the way from June until now. So this isn't all in one shot. And none of these books were over $10. They were all $10 or under. So I was perusing the local thrift store and I found it sitting there for $1. This thrift store in particular has all of their books on for $1 and I have found some really great deals there this summer. I am looking forward to reading this because I am a history nut. The next book I found at that same thrift store was The Help by Catherine Sockett. I had seen the movie. I bawled through the movie. It was so good. So when I saw the book there for only $1, I picked it up. So like the movie, this book might be a tearjerker as well. And moving right along with my dollar thrift store buys, I picked up Wonderstruck by Brian Selznick. I was so happy to see this. It was a book I recognized off of BookTube, so I flipped through it to see if I would be interested in it. I hadn't heard a lot about it, and I saw a lot of those beautiful illustrations, so I picked it up. I read this for the BookTubeathon. It was awesome. I loved it. It's gorgeous. And I will continue to hunt thrift stores to see if somebody will also donate The Invention of Hugo Cabret. The next 3 books I got were all from a trip to the city with my best friend. We perused secondhand bookshops. We checked out bookshops from off the beaten path. And we found some really good deals. There was one bookshop that had their basement. They were all $5 books down in the basement. So we checked out those, and here are my finds. The next book I picked up at the secondhand bookshop was The Princess and the Goblins by George MacDonald. I love George MacDonald. I loved this book growing up. I was so excited to find a full copy of it. It just made me so happy to find it sitting there on the top shelf. Also by George MacDonald, I picked up At the Back of the North Wind. This is his other more famous children's classic. I have not yet read this one yet though. The next book I picked up at a bookshop off the beaten path was Starlighter by Brian Davies. This is a young adult dragon science fiction novel, I think. I don't know a huge lot about it. I just know that I like the sound of it when I read about it on Goodreads. And I found it in their sale section in the basement of their shop for $5. So I thought, why not? Now we come to the only brand new book in this book haul, and that is Blossom Magic. It's one of those adult coloring books. It's got some really good pictures in it. I wanted to pick up one of those coloring books because I wanted something to do while I listened to audiobooks. And when I'm listening to audiobook stories, I find that I kind of need to do something mindless yet stay focused with the stories. So I picked up the coloring book just because that's how I stayed awake in college. I would doodle on paint on my computer, so I thought this would be a good way so I could pay attention to my audiobooks. So the next 4 books I found a secondhand bookshop in my city, and I was so excited. And they take trade-ins. So what they do is you bring your books, they'll give you credit worth half of the cover price of those books, and you can use that credit towards half of a book from their store. So when you buy a book out of their store, you pay half with your credit, half with actual cash, and that is how they use their trade system. I took a bunch of my mom's old books and my manga that I'm not reading anymore and took that into trade and found some gems. I was so happy. I had to keep from squealing when I found these books. So on to the books. So the books I found. So I told you guys in my BookTube About Me tag that my junior high reading experience was solely dedicated mainly to the Christy Miller series by Robin Jones Gunn. I had all of the books in the series, and I had their latest, at that time, edition covers, except for one book. I had the oldest, the first edition cover of the 9th book, and it was awful. It was so ugly, and it didn't match any of my books, and I think I even got it wet, so it was water damaged. So you see all these pristine, beautiful matching covers, and by the time you get to the 9th book, and there's 12 in the series, so it's right in the middle, there was this ugly cover that didn't match. And I was just thinking to myself yesterday that I should maybe try and find the 9th book, just because I decided to keep them, and I just wanted them all to match. And lo and behold, for $4.50, and it was even cheaper than that because I had credit, I found 17 Wishes by Robin Jones Gunn, the 9th book in my Christy Miller series. So now they are all matching, they're all beautiful. I am so happy. I hope this was my first almost squealing moment. The next book I found wasn't even on the shelf yet. I found Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, and it's the hardback edition. This book is like $40 some on Canadian Amazon for the hardback, and I was like, no way am I paying that. So I think I paid $6. $6 for the hardback edition of Inkheart. I was so happy. I read this for the Booktubeathon. I borrowed it from my library. I loved it, so I bought it. And now I'm so happy because I found myself a hardback edition of Inkheart. The next book I found was Aurelia's Colors by Jeffrey Overstreet. This sounds like a fantasy novel. It sounded really, really good. From what I gather, it's a girl who's raised by a gang of thieves, and she might be the one to overthrow the kingdom, is what the gist of the background is. It is a Christian fiction fantasy novel. I don't know too much about it. I just like what I've read on Goodreads, so I was really happy to see it there, so I picked that up. And last, but certainly not least, I was so happy to find this book. So I was going to use my Book Outlet coupon to buy this book, because there was only 2 left on Book Outlet. But I ended up using that coupon to buy a very dear friend a birthday present off a Book Outlet. So I was going to wait for that order to come in so I can use that coupon to buy that book, because there was only 2 left on Book Outlet. And then when I checked, they were sold out, and I was so sad. But I am no longer sad, because I found it. I found Krista McGee's Anomaly at my secondhand bookshop. This was the book I was almost squealing at when I saw it. I saw it, I grabbed it, and I hugged it, and I was not letting go of it. So I found Anomaly, and I was so very happy. And if you've been watching my channel, you know I am a huge Krista McGee fan. I have talked about her books a lot. I have talked about the Anomaly trilogy a lot. And I will be doing a review on the entire trilogy, hopefully soon. So those are all the books that I have recently acquired, all the way from June till now. And I am so excited that I found that secondhand bookshop. I told them I will be back. So again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.